right, hello everyone. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind, and I am making this video to talk about the energetics of the coronavirus. Now, one of my struggles has been and is I'm a registered nurse, and I worked as an intensive care nurse for many, many years, as well as a hospice nurse. Both my parents are doctors, so we come from a really strong, reinforced medical perspective when looking at life. And then we have this issue that arises of the coronavirus. And so, I happen to kind of know about viruses and know about bacteria just based on my medical background. Knowing that things like influenza can also cause people to get really sick, and if their immune system's compromised, their health is compromised, that it can even create life-threatening outcomes for people. So when the coronavirus started coming up, around December, it really didn't catch too much of my attention, and even in January, it didn't really catch too much of my attention. But boy, is it really catching my attention now. So what I noticed is even though I wasn't feeling fear around it, I was watching the news, and as I was watching the news and listening to all the reports and how far it's being spread, and even having a family member that's currently in Italy trying to determine whether they should be heading back this way or not, and having friends in Asia that are being impacted by this, it really came to the forefront of my attention. I'm here in Tacoma, Washington, and 2 hours north. It's just been reported that the first death from the coronavirus just took place, so in my own state that I live in. And so as a nurse, the first thing I want to educate people on, of course, is hand washing and not touching their face, and being careful out in crowds, and not shaking hands and hugging, and just being kind of diligent in our self-care when we are out and about. What I know about the virus too is it can be quite kind of fast acting. It can move through the field pretty quickly. For some people, they can be impacted by it and never actually ever know it, never get sick from it, and never even have cold type symptoms. And then other people can have mild cold symptoms. So it's, for each person it varies, and it's a lot has to do with our healthy immune system. However, for over 2 decades, I have worked full-time as a psychic healer, teacher of energy fields, and the importance of a healthy energy field, importance of being well grounded, having a healthy aura. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that perspective on this video. So doing psychic readings on viruses is not a new thing for me. Over 20 years ago, I did a reading on the HIV virus when it was really, impacting many, many people in the world. I had been to South Africa many times, and it had devastating effects there. So, I was quite interested about the HIV virus. And it was my own spirit that said, well, why don't you do a 7-layer aura reading on the HIV virus? And I thought, wow, is that even possible? I hadn't even thought of that before. And I did do the reading, and it was actually published in a book. I remember when the woman called when I submitted it, she was just like, wow, this is really advanced work, and I'm not sure the world is ready to hear this yet. So here we are 20 years later, and I am making a YouTube video on doing readings on viruses and bacteria. So this morning I got up after really feeling a lot of fear out in the world, and I wanted to do a reading on the coronavirus. So I've written about it here in the blog. But when I did the reading, I could see lots of black spikes. It was very virulent. It was very, I would say it was aggressive as a type of virus, and aggressive meaning, it can kind of go in and move through not only your human energy field, but your physical body pretty quickly and impact you pretty quickly and then move out. So that's what I picked up with this virus as well. I could see how fast moving it was. But at the core, there was a lot of pink light. There was a lot of love at the core, but around the outside was a lot of spikes. And the energy was very turbulent. It was fast moving. And I was saying in my mind, I thought, gosh, this is kind of like a Category 5 hurricane, like this kind of monster hurricane that's moving quite quickly. But what's very telling for me is when I go to do a healing on it. And healing is where I kind of ground it and infuse it with golden light and present time it. If there's any of the energy in the past or the future around the virus, bringing it into the present moment and just infusing it with this golden healing light. And I can tell kind of how stubborn a virus is based on how long it takes to kind of uptake that healing energy. And the virus actually took up the energy pretty quickly. I'd say quickly, like 10 to 15 minutes. So there was this kind of immediate response. So that was, for me as a medical person, that was encouraging for me that it responded quite quickly. But the core of it was still a little stubborn. So I played with different kind of cosmic energies that have all the different colors of cosmic energy have different qualities to it. And I found that the dark blue, lapis blue cosmic energy, celestial energy, seemed to dissolve it the quickest. I just kind of imagine this little dropper full of cosmic blue dripping on the virus in a little petri dish, and it just kind of like, it just dissipated. When I tried orange or red or green or yellow, it still had some movement and some shift and change, but nothing like this dark blue did. So in the blog, I've included a link there that you can upload an MP3 and listen to the guided meditation where you just are meditating with blue light. So will that help give you some resistance against this virus? Who knows? But it most certainly won't help to try it, right? But the other thing, so once I took a look at that virus, then I wanted to look at a couple of viruses that might be similar or has had similar impacts to the greater world global population. So one of them is influenza. So I took a look at that, and right away I could see that it was very mucusy. It was heavy with mucus, but it was a really clear mucus. And this mucusy type, it didn't have spikes to it, but it was just kind of heavy, like this kind of droplet of mucus kind of floating along. And when I went to ground it and infuse it with the gold and present time it took to the healing very quickly, very easily, and dissipated pretty quickly as well. So I thought, all right, so already the Corona-19 virus is more virulent than influenza. Even though a lot of people die from influenza, this one seems to be faster moving. Like influenza seemed to be a little slower moving, like slower to uptake in the body. The symptoms can kind of be a little deeper, heavier, last longer, and maybe take several weeks to get over, where the coronavirus seems to be a little quicker in and out. So then I thought, all right, what kind of virus can I look at that I know is definitely more aggressive? And what came up from Spirit was the Ebola virus. So remember a couple of years ago when they were putting travel bans out from Africa, and there was just a lot of fear. I was really kind of afraid of that particular virus because it can cause hemorrhagic fever. It can be quite a violent death. So I took a look at that virus, and it definitely was much more aggressive. However, what was interesting was the virus was pretty clear, but above the virus, it almost looked like these poisonous snakes, like a nest of baby snakes that are highly poisonous, and it was quite high above. So I thought, so what does that look like in the human energy field? And so then Spirit showed me, the aura and the chakras, and where the virus would enter in like 20 to 50 feet high above the body, and that's kind of where the virus would come in there. What I noticed about the coronavirus is it seems to enter in not only to the root chakra, which is your survival chakra, but the spiritual chakra as well, and in the heart chakra. Where with the influenza, I noticed that it just impacted the heart chakra the most. So here we have 3 examples of 3 different viruses and the energy field of the viruses having very different kind of impacts on the body. And so in my blog, I have included the blue light meditation that you can follow to kind of help infuse your own energy field and body with the blue light. Again, I am going to say, I am not saying at all that this is going to prevent you from getting the virus. I am not saying that at all. I'm just saying I noticed it in my meditation that it seemed to dissipate it quickly. I'm going to be meditating with the blue light as an extra precaution, right along with washing my hands, minimizing crowds, and not touching surfaces that are outside of my home, and not touching my face. So I'll add the blue light because for me, that's what it is I like to teach. It's like, let's include the energetic perspective as well, not just the physical perspective. The other thing is being well grounded, because I noticed that as I grounded the virus, that more the spikes and more aggressive part of it just dissolved easily and just drained down the grounding. So, and what does fear do? Fear either causes our aura to pull inside of our body or causes our aura to over expand. And those are 2 fear responses. So we want our aura to be nice and healthy around us. In my blog, I've included an attachment to my other blog about auras, so that you can follow that, and there's a guided meditation there as well. The other thing is, if you're feeling a lot of fear, your spirit can kind of go down into the body and you're just feeling the body fear. That's all you're feeling. But if you move up to the 6th chakra near the pineal, that's where you can maintain your neutral, observing, spiritual or energetic perspective. You kind of rise above the fear so that you can know the truth. You can know clearly, do I have a reason to have this life-threatening fear right now at this moment in time? If you're on your pineal, it'll say, yeah, you need to take lots of precautions. You need to be discerning. You need to be concerned. Or from that pineal area, you'll hear, no, it's your fear is over exaggerated. It's going to be okay, but still take healthy precautions. So I've included that blog as well that has some guided meditations to kind of teach you how to get on the pineal. So really, this is my passion. This is my work, is to teach people not only how to take care of your health, like eating right. You want to keep your immune system up. So that means making healthy choices in food. That means staying hydrated. That means getting minimum 6 hours of sleep a night, ideally 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night to stay really healthy, and not overstressing, not overtaxing yourself. Taking salt baths, anything that you can do, meditation, of course, that's my big go-to. So anything that you can do to help you maintain that healthy immune system. Of course, taking vitamins or vitamin C, I'm not going to recommend any of that. Just do what you normally do during flu season to keep yourself as healthy as possible. So there's lots of information out there at the body level, I will say, that give you really great tips on taking care of you, taking care of your family or your elderly loved ones. But from an energetic standpoint, just meditating to running your energy. And if you feel like you want to do some healing, offer healing to the virus, offer healing to the global world, then use whatever tools that you use to do that. And the baseline of prayer works really, really, really well. So with intention and prayer, lighting a candle, and just praying to the divine, to God, to the God of your heart, the creator, to help kind of ease and dissolve and move this virus on out. The thing about viruses, they have a higher purpose too. I don't know what that higher purpose is. I actually asked to speak to the higher spiritual aspects of the virus, but I couldn't hear what was going on. I couldn't pick up what was going on. And so over time, maybe I will, but right now, I don't. We all have a higher perspective. We all have a higher calling or a higher purpose. And then we also have our human purpose and our body purpose, and the virus is no different. But anyway, I wanted to make this video and write the blog just to maybe give you a more expanded, less limited way of thinking in regards to energy and viruses, and just a different perspective of how it might work and how it might help if we give healings. Who knows? There's no scientific science labs or scientific studies that can prove any of this right now. The only thing that I have to go by is that for over 20 years, I have been working with the human energy field, and I have observed people being able to heal in ways energetically that healed their body that as a nurse, if I hadn't witnessed it with my own eyes, I never would have believed it. So why not apply it to viruses? So I'll leave you all with that, and thanks so much for helping hold that space of the higher perspective, but also doing really practical human things as well to minimize the spread of this really active virus in our world right now. All right, take care everyone, and happy hand washing.